Sort of like, am I too close? Okay. Yes, the president of the board is here. Yay! She's also my little sister, which is so cute. So cute. I think it's. I am so ready. We're going live for this. Dee, are you here for this or are you just hanging out? You're here! Yay! Yeah, we're so glad you're here. We're live. Okay, so cool. So we are live, and the very exciting thing is that tonight at the Cave Collective is our poetry reading / slam poetry night. And the very, very cool thing is that I had no idea I was going to host this event until I RSVP'd to this event, and someone said, "Oh my gosh, you're hosting." So here we are. My name is Natalie Slack, and I like to be as anonymous as possible while also making sure you know my name. Hello. So we are going to do some poetry tonight. And if you are familiar with Poetry Slam, you are going to be unfamiliar with what happens tonight because we are not doing a traditional Poetry Slam. There is no competitive element. We aren't going to do anything crazy or call you up by random numbers. This is going to be just like a really cool, slow-moving, unless you make it fast-paced space to read, perform, share something that you've written. I am a writer, and sometimes my writing comes out in the form of poetry. And so while I do a lot of live storytelling and I do a lot of personal narrative essay writing, poetry is a place that I've found just like really snappy ways to communicate ideas. And so I've loved it since I was a kid. Sometimes I forget I'm not a kid, but I'm not a kid. And I'm here tonight just to facilitate this. And so this is really cool thing. I've never been to slam poetry at the Cave Collective, and yet here I am hosting. So I have no idea what's happened the last couple months, and so you can't yell at me if this is different. It's just going to be what it is. So a couple things you should know before you take the microphone. We are live streaming. Don't let that intimidate you. It's yours to share if you want, and it's yours to untag yourself from and pretend that it didn't happen if you feel so compelled. And that's totally fine too. I'm not super comfortable with being on camera, so it freaks me out. So I have to pretend that it's not happening, and that works for me. So I highly suggest disassociation if that's where you're at. I know. I work with a guy who sometimes in meetings when he just doesn't want to be there anymore, and he will actually, and this is like a corporate environment, I just quit my job, but long story, but corporate environment, he will just fold his arms and lay his head, and he will say, "I'm just going to disassociate for a few minutes." And it's really amazing because how many of us want to do that in our daily life? I want to do that probably 3,700 times as a parent every day and probably 4.5 million times as a partner every day. So I highly recommend disassociation when you need it. But tonight, you can do that there, but if you're up here, try to be not disassociated. Let's associate here. I don't know if we have a sign-up sheet. People in the back, do we have a sign-up sheet? Or do we just wave wildly and maybe do interpretive dance? No, I'm cool with interpretive dance. It's fine. Do you want me to read something, or does someone want to go first? Ooh, do. What? God, but I don't have anything ready. I was camping for the last couple, 24 hours, and that meant that I didn't have to think about anything because nobody could text me or email me or talk to me. And of course, I came home to a complete shit show. But, so something interesting about me is that, you didn't ask, but you get to hear this while I scroll and look. I recently ran a campaign for public office in Rapid City, which was just the worst thing that you could possibly do. And I ran for school board. And what's interesting when you're a parent and you are also a whole-ass person is that people like to judge everything that you do. And so I got a lot of that. And one of the cool, very cool things that people came up with about me while I ran for school board is that I was the pornographic poet, which I love the alliteration, and I'm here for that energy, and thank you, and like I need a t-shirt. And this is one of the pieces that they wildly shared on social media, which is not a great way to start from, because it is sort of about childhood sexual abuse, but we're gonna roll with it. And then I hope one of you will come up here with something slightly more uplifting. This is called Evaporation. He told me my hands were big like a man's hands and rough like he liked it, and I knew he meant around his cock, around my neck, inside my mouth. There are ways to make threats without words that are threats. I am fluent in patriarchy. The folds of your skirt, the folds of your fingers, the folds of the inside of your mouth, chewed skin, chewed gum. Could you at least try for freshness, fresh breath, fresh beats? Show up, don't eat. I am fluent in starvation. Sweeping gestures, sweeping crumbled silvered linings under blood-rimmed rug, red-rimmed eyes, my own body suspended over my own body, watching everything melt into tears, everything freeze into fears. I am fluent in evaporation. All right, somebody else get up here. Introduce yourself too if you want to, unless you want to be anonymous, and then just say anonymous and do an interpretive dance.
All right. Hey, my name is Jaden, and this poem is called Coming Out. The first time I heard the word gay, I was only in the first grade. I didn't know what it meant, but I knew that it was meant as an insult, so I hid my attraction later. Thinking back, it was there. I think that I knew that I was attracted to girls. When I was younger, I wore pants instead of skirts, was a mix of tomboy and girly girl, played superheroes instead of house, and I grew up. I became more and more ashamed of my attraction to females, prayed every day for God to take the gay away. I eventually stopped believing in God, thought, how can I love a God that wears homophobia and bigotry like a permanent tattoo? How can I love a God that despises me for who I love? I was in the closet for the longest time, and now I'm free to be me, non-binary and gay. I came out and I'm proud to be a part of a wonderful, accepting community.
Okay, but wait. Didn't you say this was the first time you'd read poetry in like a number of years? Okay, so another round of applause. That was freaking amazing. So I'm so lucky because I get to serve on the board here of the Cave Collective, which mostly means that I sometimes get to make coffee and hang out with cool people. And have you been here to the Cave before, or is this your first time? This is your first time, so welcome. We are your people, and we're so glad that you're here. And this is like so exciting that you came and you read and you just jumped up here, and I'm so excited. So thank you for sharing with us tonight. Come back. And now I think Sydney was gonna go. Yes, all right, here's Sydney.
I'm gonna grab this off of it because I don't like it. Nope, we're just gonna do this. Hi, my name is Sydney, and yep. This is written by someone who doesn't always feel okay. Okay, an empty word. Something said often, but in truth absurd. A glue, a lock meant to withhold all the secrets left untold. How are you? They smile and ask. Okay, you respond and force a grin past, but deep within your heart will say, it's not true, I'm not okay. Your mind shoves that feeling down. Your mouth may speak, but without sound. The words you say, like I'm okay, are lies you tell, truth to hell. But somewhere hidden far below, a child is screaming, let me go. You fight it down, snuffing it out, but the child continues to scream and shout. Slowly its voice begins to fade, a price you're not told you will have to be paid. The child, tears streaming down its cheeks. You shove it down. Pathetic, you say, weak. At last the child disappears, but then comes what you've always feared. You're not okay, but now you don't tell. You'll never know how deep you fell. You look up and smile and say, I'm okay. Okay is an empty word anyway.
Oh, yes, hi, I'm Mary. I live here. He lives upstairs. It gets way too hot for me. Art is as much choosing the right words or the right palette as it is accepting bullets in the chest, sans bulletproof vest, and speaking truth to power. Art is as much holding your punches back when a void is meant to be, or when it shows a lack. The negative space is where we spoil and decay, or where we leave our mark. Because what matters most when nothing really lasts is less about the future bearing witness to the past. Can I get a witness or just a skylark? Enraptured by the beauty of the duty, covering the loss of chaos. Seems more lonely now when only knowing future tracks exactly as they happened then. Is silence found again? Art is as much a revolution as it is a form of life if you believe in tonics like sour milk with crushed lavender blooms, charming and unrefined in passion fruit rooms, and skies bright and blossoming, bearing milky acid rain beneath the weight of unrequested burdens, containing the pain of blessings. Did you? Did you believe that spoiled resurrection? Because it was a lie. Art is as much a resurrection as it is your demise, because this will be the end of you. No one makes it out alive. With this pen, I thee extol. These words lay me down to sleep. This rest defines my soul.
Maybe for a little bit. So this also is my first time at the cave, and it's the first time I've read it in public. My name is Todd. I live in Rapid City, but I'm only here maybe a month a year, 6 weeks a year. I work overseas. This is the 4th anniversary of my father's funeral, and that's when I began writing. This poem is the first poem that I ended up publishing, and actually began writing in that time with a whole bunch of other stuff. It's called Lost Socks. I wear my dead father's socks. They do not guide my steps like quiet and steady words, but they comfort my feet when at rest and when I walk. They are not new socks, ones that barely stretch around thickening calves and ankles and leave deep impressions that fade only when I sleep at night. And they are not weathered socks that give in to gravity and tear with just a tug, their holes growing after every mile walked until my toes touch the earth. They are my socks now, filling the empty space in an unkempt and chaotic drawer, pairs and orphans alike, fumbling for a place in the here and now, as if they know that one day they too will be lost in between the desert and the ocean, or disappear into the deep recesses of a dark and dusty laundry room. And these are actually the last pair, the last ones that have survived over the past 4 years.
So I was going to read a poem that I hadn't written, and then I remembered that I had something that I have, and I'm not sure that it's actually finished because I haven't read to the end yet. So we're going to find out. My name's Noelle, and this is called Shattered. The exit was at least 500 or so feet above me, but that didn't really matter since I couldn't move. I was stuck in this cylinder, standing on breaking glass with a never-ending void below me that I knew I would eventually fall into. How long have I been in this spot? 1 year? 2? I thought that after the first glass platform broke, I was done and would fall to my death, but nope. Now I have to live with the constant fear of the cracking sound that seemed to come or happen with each step. The worst part was that I could see the shining light coming from the world above. I could smell the fresh air I had once lived in before I fell into this pit of doom. At first, I yelled and screamed for help every day, though I quickly found out that this was a solo task, and I was on my own for figuring out how to escape. I just couldn't get myself to take a step forward. Another year passed, and my fear was turning to anger. Why was I afraid of falling? I knew it was bound to happen, so why wait for the overwhelming darkness? I took a step forward in a moment of confidence. My courage diminished upon hearing the god-awful cracking sound beneath the weight of my foot. My heartbeat increased dramatically. I immediately pulled back. It didn't matter, though, because the damage was already done. The chamber rumbled, and a chunk of the earth broke off the side of the wall. As it fell, time seemed to slow down. It hit the glass right in front of my feet, causing the platform to shatter. My hands reached for something to grab as I slid along the walls, getting scraped and cut. Finally, I caught a tiny dirt ledge. My body was hurt, and I knew I wouldn't last long. But I tried to settle my frazzled nerves best that I was able. Somehow I managed to stay there for days, then weeks, draining all my energy. I still had the same feeling nagging at me. I was going to fall. Why postpone it? Maybe I was tired and delirious, or exhaustion became too much, and that's when I released my hand from the ledge. I fell and fell till I no longer could see the top or my hand. I wondered what was awaiting for me at the bottom. Would there be another glass platform? Would I finally hit solid floor? It's a weird thing feeling peaceful about falling. I guess it's more the hope behind the fear that brings the calm, knowing that someday I would reach the bottom and be able to try to climb back up.
Okay, so I'm really big on mental health. I think it's really important. We should spread more awareness about it. So this is a poem called Explain My Depression to My Mother by Sabrina Benham. Explain my depression to my mother, a conversation. Mom, my depression is shapeshifter. One day it's as small as a firefly in the palm of a bear. The next it's the bear. On those days I play dead until the bear leaves me alone. I call the bad days the dark days. Mom says, try lighting candles. But when I see a candle, I see the flush of a church, the flicker of a flame, sparks of a memory younger than noon. I'm standing beside my open casket. Is the moment I learn every person I will ever come will someday die. Besides, Mom, I'm not afraid of the dark. That's part of the problem. Mom says, I thought the problem was that you can't get out of bed. I can't. Anxiety holds me hostage. Inside of my house, inside of my head. Mom says, where did anxiety come from? Anxiety is a cousin visiting from out of town. The depression felt obligated to invite to the party. Mom, I am the party, only I'm a party that I don't want to be at. Mom says, why don't you try going to actual parties? See your friends. Sure, I make plans, but I don't want to go. I make plans because I know I should have want to go. I know sometimes I would want to go. It's just that's not much having fun when you don't want to have fun, Mom. You see, Mom, each night insomnia sweeps me up in the arms, dips me in the kitchen in the small glow of the stove light. Insomnia hits the romantic way of making the moon feel like a perfect company. Mom says, try counting sheep. But my brain can only count reasons to stay awake, so I go on walks. But my starry kneecaps clank like silver spoons held in strong hands with loose wrists, ring in my ears like clumsy church bells, reminding me I am sleepwalking on an ocean of happiness that I cannot baptize myself in. Mom says happy is a decision, but my happy is hollow as a pin-picked egg. My happy is a high fever that will break. Mom says I'm good at making something out of nothing, and then flat out tells me I'm afraid of dying. No, Mom, I'm afraid of living. Mom, I am lonely. I think that I learned when Dad left how to turn the anger into lonely, the lonely into busy. So when I say that I have been super busy lately, I mean that I've been falling asleep watching SportsCenter on the couch to avoid confronting the empty side of my bed. But my depression always drags me back to my bed until my bones are the forgotten fossils of skeleton sun-sunken city. My mouth a boneyard of teeth broken from biting down on themselves. The hollow auditorium on my chest swoons with echoes of a heartbeat, but I am a careless tourist here. I will never know everywhere I have been. Mom still doesn't understand. Mom, can't you see that neither can I?
Holy shit! That was awesome. Who was that? Okay. Yeah, really good. So I'm a mom, to follow that, and I have 3 teenagers, which is a really weird thing when, like, last time I checked, I was 17. And I'm not anymore, and I've never done this poem out loud, and it's one I wrote for myself on Mother's Day one year, because when you have 3 teenagers, and they're all teenage boys, they sort of don't give a shit about Mother's Day, which is cool. And we have very few expectations at our house, and I don't remember this poem, but I'm going to read it anyhow. And it is called No Coronation. I have heard that creation is meant to be soft and light, and I argue that from conception to crowning there is no celebration, no coronation, just arrival, shit-soaked and bloody, splitting the body of delivery in two. There is no light pink and blue, no cotton softness in the push and pull of humanity, rending and tending a life into a harsh world. You are not old yet, my son says, standing taller than my shoulders, bearing down, bearing him, bearing the weight of what if. But I have watched youth flee me from the day my navel stretched and skin tore at 18. From the day his lifetime ago when I stood at an altar, all Romeo and Juliet, an altar to a forever I didn't know would elude me, didn't know would confuse me, didn't know what forever would mean. And so when I tell my sons, I hope that they love hard their first love and learn much and give consensually, unendingly, excitedly, but do not keep her. What I mean is love is meant to be freely given and freely seen, that there is little passion in passing by one another in the night when trying to build alternate lives, that love is sometimes as temporary as a sunrise or as long as the finality of the horizon, and there is a possibility in every daylight. There is a patience in every long night, and there is no forcing forever. No want or try will ensure safety so. I hope my motherhood is a roadmap that they lose, a trail they abandon, a myth they tell as a cautionary tale, that they build glass houses and live in freedom, that when the world says fight or flee, they scream other better F words, paint their faces with memories of Amistad, reconcile an armistice, become the resistance, name their daughter courage, and fortify with only feathers for flight. I hope their love is soft and round and full, and when it comes to opposition, I hope sometimes it bends gently, and sometimes it remains resolute. I hope they know there's no failure in the way that water trickles downhill and leaves traces, picks up pebbles, rearranges, that love is the great reconstruction. Motherhood has shaped my womanhood like Mother Earth's spreading hips, the movement of tectonic plates, the force of a mountain, the rush of an ocean against the lava-rent shore. I hope they pray to nature and fold their hands and bodies to her alone, that they recover remnants of the skin of the soles of my feet from the places I should have laid to rest or paused to learn or dared to imagine. I hope they see motherhood not as a battleground, but as a mystery, all spread legs and wonder deep, drenched in the very smear of being human. There is no softness in creation. Let there be light. We have been bloody our whole lives. Imagine stars colliding, imagine sparks lighting, imagine a pelican pecking tears of blood from her own breast. Imagine feeding your child flesh of your flesh and the constant question of, is it enough? Was I enough? Will they be enough? Will they sacrifice Romeo and Juliet at the altar of youth, build a shrine from their bones, make bricks from their ashes, then smear blood around the doorframe, make a pact with the gods for freedom forever? What if forever has already failed their future, their hazel eyes, the hazy view, their mother on fire, the gods under siege? How can I hand them this future and ask them to thank me? My sons make pancakes and offer an apology. I offer an apology for the ways I have mothered wrong or unwell or without belief. And I tell them there is meant to be a mystery and an epiphany in every act of parenting, every act of possibility, every time a mother births a child from blood and spit and bone and shit and knows she will not live to see if they make it. If she was enough, if they are enough, if they love matter and live wilder than any mother has, if they build bridges out of backgrounds that do not make sense and dare to climb the fiery side of a volcano just to watch everything they know melt, because creation is not soft, but it is the flash of the brightest light that a phoenix rises. I hope they dismantle the very privilege they are born to knock down the statues of patriarchal pride, see the lines on the flesh of my side, realize the myth is true. I mother because I am selfless, and I mother because I am selfish too. There is no coronation. I hope they lay down every crown, set aside the accolades, show up to the earthquake with soft eyes and working hands. I hope that they see humanity has stretch marks down her side, that wounds will never fully heal, but that scars can be traced like constellations if you do the work of imagination, that it is high time for them to be quiet and soft and round in a hard and square world. But it is about time for them to show up, to link arms, to create safety in a shit-soaked, bloody world. And I hope when I see their shrines and their doorsteps, strands of my hair wrap inside the strands in the bird's nest next to the stoop, that I trip on my own wishbone, cemented in their sidewalk, that they paint a wall of constellations in their living room, and that everything is hazel, that everything is clear. It's all an arrival. I never wanted to be a mother, but I have been split, and I have been saved by their youth and imagination, and I hope it's enough these few fleeting days of hard-won celebration or recognition, and I imagine that my sons hand me their sons that I will never raise, but I have already shaped. And I am all softness, and the curtain will rend, and the garden will need tended, and there is room at the altar for this kind of forever, because as a mother, I know now what forever can mean, what forever can be, what forever can choose to see, even when it is so far in the distance, so bloody and torn, so world-weary and battled, so worn, so fiery and full, so bright light shrouded in mystery. It is hard to believe that it is enough. That was weird, because I totally forgot about that poem. And then your poem about mom made me think about that poem. Who else wants to go? Who wants to read? Who wants to read? Raise your hand, do the dance. Yes, come up, do the thing.
This one is called Recovery. Recovery, a return to a normal state of health, mind, or strength. Often, people use it as a final statement, a period at the end of a sentence. Recovery is simply the process of trying to be better. Once upon a time, I used recovery as a closing statement. That was before I relapsed. The crushing thing about relapse is trying to tell the people who care about you, who wanted you to get better, that you failed. Even worse is telling the people who didn't. I know too many people who don't believe in depression, in eating disorders, in sexual assault, and when you say, I'm recovering, they take it to mean, I'm not going to talk about it anymore. So when it doesn't work out, you are reduced to a stain on someone else's life. I have come to realize that recovery is not one specific goal. Instead, it is the culmination of the fact that I am more than every bad thing that has ever happened to me, that I am more than every bad thing that I have ever done, that I am more than anything that has cut me down, spit me out, and ground me into the dirt. I am human, and that is enough for me. I am human, and I make mistakes. I am human, and I love without reason. I am human in the way of reckless abandon, of bad decisions, and a passion for life, in the journey of love, not just for others, but for myself as well. If it takes a breakup for me to look in the mirror and see someone, worth existing, someone worth living, someone worth loving, then so be it, because the addiction of pain is a mere shadow in the bliss of living.
did read this before at the Verb Story Collective, but it's a little different and not. Okay, so I'm going to pretend none of you exist. My name's Will. Hi. Okay. Just not click this the whole time. Opening my arms around you, yet I show no signs of straining. If I'm to help, I can't be complaining. There's a fine line between support and enabling. You're only inches away from the side from what I perceive. Your eyes stretch for miles. Jump if you believe. Flash forward, regain lucidity in isolation. A throbbing reminder of falling short glows in your head and your heart. Panic purged through meditation, exasperation, distractions from the dread. Fear-based, fast-paced, poised with dread. Denial as dogma, the pitfall in our head. Consider the perspective and consider the source. Incidental crossfire attributed to calculated force. This is time, space, and that's what happens before equilibrium with ourselves and source. Pray this time we don't own expectations on our love. Infinite void is infinite abundance. Alternatively, draw from within us unfamiliarly, a self-love that's sustaining, even exponentiating, and inherently non-imposing. Harmony is what happens in a time-space that's fashioned with love and intent and compassion and action. I'll still hold your hand, and you'll hold hers, and I'll hold his. Peace thrives where perspective lives. If we are all one, why is exclusivity the only relevant necessity? If built on trust, doesn't that trust belong to everyone I love? What is the truth when it flows through you? Is it something you feel or only real when you do? For all my ideals and faith, I still scrunch up my face, fooled, looking for where I can stay. Every time that I pray, it's more or less to say, help us find a better way. The plan is to live beyond what I've created, elevate, not anticipate it, open to fresh starts, opening my broken heart that the weakest of me panicked and tore apart. Becoming the pain from afore, displaced the door, placed inside my right mind, only left behind my need to hide. All I can't is leave me when I believe in my trajectory, in my truth seek integrity, not to deflect yours from true accountability. Respond responsible when potency of animosity wasn't meant for me. It's the mother in me. Her energy been dragged in the worst way. You're telling me to sit, stay, down. How will I feel when denied the opening? I guard and witness the essence from the conflict of which you're running. But you don't hear it, do you? Seeing me as a threat when I was bound to you, thrashing through the dread with you, but I am not like you. And now she's asking to know me, to feel safe with me. The paradox of this trust is that we need to open up when our experiences scream overwhelmingly contrary with the mistrust we were taught to carry. Early in life, I was shown that passion was a sign to jump in and commit fully, even at the expense of me. Thankfully, years of scathing sense have humbled me. Now I view passion more as an inclination toward. It isn't the thing wholly, it's the thing challenging me to become more fully. Passion has been equated with volatility and instability, with unfinished projects and people that I'd tried to know before they were allowed to be. Maybe they didn't know how to provide what they'd known to offer. Forgiving and supporting is compassion, my intention. Passion leads to will and motivation. So for not any reason would I push it away hastily, though I'm obliged to transform it, lest it die from insincerity. Passion must become more humble, honest, patient, clear. Passion must find its purpose here. I need the passion from the depths of my confusion and indignance to forge a foundation of stillness, and here we might rest. I want her to be an inspiration to my heart rather than an object of adoration. I feel now that the urge to adore is what holds us apart. It puts a subject outside to cast compliment like target practice. Nurturing from within has a different tone, a soft sort of ache, pride in my urge to be alone, to fortify the integrity of my boundaries and that nothing I love is meant to be otherly. This is also why I could never cast a lover from any other as a point of pride from the leveraging place of insecurity again. I've learned my lesson as it was meant for me. It's not everyone's journey, though to me it's the deepest honor available to me to give love and allow freedom from what I wish for them. Generally, that's too close to my personal standards anyhow. Perception skews and alters. The lover feels other in their skin when they're let that version of me in. To do better, I must learn to invest and not impose, to love without withhold, so the example I set for myself becomes whole. As an effort to inspire, win together, not over, in an effort to be closer, with restored freedom of movement,
from what others look to determine for us.
I had a bit of a moment because I have a 1997 vehicle, so it doesn't like beep at me if I leave my lights on. But now my lights are off. And you put the word trajectory in a poem, and I was so excited about that. I was like, yes, that is awesome. I try to steer away from big words because they scare me. So who's next? Who brought something? You want to go? You want to go? Yes. All right.
Hi, my name is Carolyn, and this poem is called Did You Take Your Meds Today? I fucking hate it. That seemingly innocuous phrase uttered under the guise of casual conversation, catastrophically crashing through my train of thought and piercing through the pieces of my pitiful pride. A reminder that I am less than without the cacophony of anti-everything disintegrating in my aching stomach, as if I'm some damsel in distress and my knight in shining armor is sertraline. You call it concern, but it feels so fucking condescending. I am a fledgling in your nest that you refuse to let fly. Please, just let me take that leaf. For once, shut your mouth and let me thrive.
I don't have to talk every time. Somebody else can go. It's all cool. I'll say her. This shit took me 3 years to write. I can't just do that. Okay. You need the challenge of the once a month. It's good though. I'll talk till somebody else comes up here. So last year, was like pandemic year, and it was all crazy and shit. And I was stuck at home with my kids and a job and a husband and things. And April is National Poetry Month, so I spent every day of April waking up at like 4 o'clock in the morning and writing a poem, which was really good for me because I hadn't written for many years. And so that kind of grew into writing a lot more. And so I sometimes need a deadline. Like I need to like challenge myself to do that. But yet at the same time, the very best writing still comes to me at like 2 o'clock in the morning or in the shower or, like while taking a shit or whatever, like it does to most of us. Does somebody else want to share something, or you want me to keep talking about my shits? I mean, I can go either way. Like I'm good. Yeah. Come on up.
So this one is not by me. It's by Buddy Wakefield, and I don't know if you guys like listen to his poetry. He does a lot of spoken word, but I really am inspired by him. I love the metaphors that he uses. So this is one called "We Were Emergencies" that spoke to me a little while ago as I don't know, I hate to say recovered, especially after the last poem I just did, but recovering from a really bad time I had just had. But anyways, here is "We Were Emergencies." We can stick anything into the fog and make it look like a ghost, but tonight, let us not become tragedies. We are not funeral homes with propane tanks in our windows, looking like cemeteries. Cemeteries are the earth's way of not letting go. Let go. Tonight, let's turn our wrists so far backwards that the razor blades in our pencil tips can't get a good angle on all that beauty inside. Step into this with your airplane parts. Move forward and repeat after me with your heart. I no longer need you to fuck me as hard as I hated myself. Make love to me like you know that I am better than the worst thing I ever did. Go slow. I'm new to this, but I have seen nearly every city from a rooftop without jumping, and I have realized that the moon did not need to be full for us to love it, that we are not tragedies stranded beneath it, that if my heart really broke every time I fell from love, I would be able to offer you confetti by now. But hearts don't break, y'all. They bruise and get better. We were never tragedies. We were emergencies. You call 911. Tell them I'm having a fantastic time.
Thank you. I wrote this poem last summer. It's just short, but I was kind of just pondering life and its meaning in the wake of the George Floyd everything. So here we are. Groping, hoping, moping, feeling, sealing, reeling, grieving, reaving, weaving, looking at the sky, wondering why, getting high, wishing to fly. Why, oh why, my, oh my sanity. Interplanetary, the universe, so diverse. Having to reverse? No, go forward, reach reward. Don't go overboard. Fill the vessel. Life's a pretzel, all tied in knots, but also warm and doughy.
I won't make eye contact. Yeah? All right.
Excuse me. All right. Your reading reminded me of like exactly in the same point last year. Sitting, very isolated and, trying to make sense of all of it. So I wrote this, and I always felt a little separated from that whole situation. I've been living in another country. We were trapped for like 2 years. We finally got out here a couple weeks ago. It's like, whew. I call this Breathe. Breathe. It shouldn't be this hard. Tests show no sign of infection, yet the weight of worlds presses hard against even the sturdiest of bodies. At night, it always seems worse, especially in that half space between dreaming and being awake, every malady amplified by uncertainty and fear. Breathe. Just because you know you can. Knowing that protest as you might, it will not stop the world from turning, and it will not make this season turn any faster. Stop and feel the world in motion from your bedroom. Eyes closed and lips pursed as you spin as if you're riding the gravitron. Bottom dropping out beneath anxious feet, only darkness below. Breathe in the calm of your own home. Phone silenced, TV turned off, computer put to sleep all afternoon. Everyone you've ever known standing at your door of memory, ready to recite remedies to ailments, real or imagined. They'll wait all day if they have to, ready to embrace tales told of the history of things touched. You smile. They smile back. Your breath grows shallow and sleep calls quietly. Breathe. That's it.
It's hard to follow Todd. I stood up and regretted it. Our idea of love is just a series of misguided assumptions, however well-intentioned, that move our bodies through our lives. Bodies, those 6 degrees diminished to 3 as coupleships form and fall away, touching each of us the way I never intended for my addiction to come around to him, and she never meant for that infidelity to come back to me, just like he never meant for that single backhand to follow me for a decade, or he never thought I'd actually come to his wedding. An unforgettable moment when she came down the aisle, beautiful, off-white and sun-kissed sparkle and freckles and lace, and he smiled, almost sheepishly, and our eyes met, and it turns out that it lacks a certain tact to gift a woman, a wife, the same wedding song that he'd gifted me only 4 years prior. We assume every love to be our last. We pressure every love to last, but every new moment starts through the breaking of adjacent hearts. How to explain the myriad ways in which we can be both innocent of and responsible for a mistake? After all, there is no true communication without comprehension. I can tell you that you're wonderful. You can throw it in my face. You can tell me I'm so damn beautiful, but I can distrust you every day. I can tell you 100 times and another just for good measure how I love the line of your jaw, but why can't you hear it until she says it? How do I tell you? I am the sum of every moment I've ever grasped, an aggregate of each touch that has landed on my body, a collection of the words that have fallen across my face in love or hate or assumption or misunderstanding. And how do I explain to you, to others, to monogamy, to societal expectations that I don't want to be your everything? I just want to be your something good.
Yeah. It's not, no, so like, I have to do my poems from memory because all my poems become songs. And I have to memorize them to play them. And so I'm really just reciting a song I wrote, so I'm kind of cheating, so. But yeah, so this is a poem that I wrote into a song very recently. Some of you have heard it already. And I have to look at you because I don't have a phone to stare at, which probably should have acted like I'm just gonna black screen it up. All right, so it's not just what I did, but what I said when I was lonely. I'll take another drink so I won't have to think of my offenses. And now it doesn't matter what I say. I've already said far more than my share. And now I've lost my compass. Magnetism's thrown me for a spin. The sky is cloudy. I'm belligerent. I haven't been myself. These days I can't recall a recent time I wasn't lonely. We face the hangman's line. Every one of us does in time. This haunting loss of dream. Tell me there's another way. Because everyone must face the truth. Here is mine. Sing with me. I am not a good man. No one is a good man.
I hate following Mary and Dexter too. So Mary's my little sister, which is really weird because she's a lot younger than me, and yet she leads me in a lot of ways. And it's really a cool thing. I mean, it's a cool thing. It's good. When I moved out for college, I think you were 12, and we would write letters back and forth, and I didn't write very nice letters because I didn't really want to give a lot of time to a 12-year-old sister when I was in college. But she put a lot of thought into them, and you can see that she continues to do that in a lot of really cool ways. And so anyhow, that's awesome. Dexter, you're awesome. Todd's awesome. Everybody's awesome. Okay, good. So while you all sit there and think about who's going to read next, I'm going to do this one. And it's one of my favorites to do, so I'm just going to do it because I feel like doing it. And it's called I Do Not Owe You My Beauty. I do not owe you my beauty or the youthful glow I collected some summer on the shores of Lake Superior, throwing fish hooks into open mouths of well-fed fish, throwing glances at boys on docks and shoreline shorts and sandals, grit in my mouth as I chewed my tongue to a pulp, asking for my towel back, spit, not swallow. Swimsuit top, giggling boys, snapping beach towels on sandy asses, give me my name back. I do not owe you my beauty or the cold, dark, sultry stare of a well-lined eye. The club in Minneapolis, dance floor in Dakota, crotch rubbed against my shoulder for 11 miles as he stood above me on a Mexican street bus. The violent undressing of my clothed body by his naked stare, hands wrapped around my neck, masturbating minds like exploring mine shafts. I do not owe you my beauty. Come sit on your knee and tell you about me. Come sit on your lap and give you a kiss. Come sit on your cock and tell you I want you. Call you daddy or master or a long drawn out apology. I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. My worth, the width of the handprint you pulling panties lined with pearls for my palms, penance. Find me the rent is due. Rename generosity. I do not owe you my beauty, the summons of Greek mythology, the rewriting of Wonder Woman, the sexualization of My Little Pony, the all-male ninja, the scented washable markers we used to line our lips as toddlers, the tragedy of Sylvia Plath, the scent of a woman's mother's bargain, the oldest profession, the dirtiest hotel room, the knowledge of salad in your tea. I do not owe you my beauty, not my long silky hair, not my shaved legs or armpits or lip, not the curve of my forcing forever fuckably flatter the way desire is spelled out, dimple, ear, so I render everything undone and alone and not worth it. I do not owe you my beauty. So when you ask for my I let them fall, bleeding, bleeding lemon from puffy eyes. I ring the redness around them with black as you like it. Use a 5th grade highlighter to circle. To lose here alongside my father, but I do not wait for his to go. Pull fistfuls from a bloody scalp, decorate with table salt in every wound, put an infant's hair bow on every stab and down. Every woman I know has claw marks on the inside of her eyelids. Let me tell you about beauty. Every eye closing is a slasher film. Every cartoon is a slasher film. Every eye opening is a slasher film. Every pornography is a slasher film. Harder, faster, better. Every sleep is pass. Every scream turned up loud enough. Silent. Are screaming as they display beauty. Them. Every fall is a slasher film. Every scream is caught so far back in the throat that you wrapped your hands around and called that we put our hands up, put on the jumpsuit, taken no bail, accepted the paradoxical prison, put on the shame, the escapism of ugly, or I will owe you my beauty because I do not owe you the least of me, the best of me, bloody knees or bated breath, the heightened rent of being a woman, the terms of payment, the mess of your soul. Don't spit, the apologies, I'm so sorry, 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 but I do not owe you a goddamn thing. Up. No. Okay, who wants to go next? Yay! Say. If you don't. One thing!
And I deeply apologize to whoever has to use this microphone next because it's going to be way up high because I'm very tall. This is not mine because I'm deeply afraid of failure. But this is my favorite poem. It's by someone you may have heard of. His name is Walt Whitman. Obscure, but if you haven't, then you might not have heard of it. It's called When I Learned Astronomer. When I heard the when the proofs figures were ranged in columns before me, when I was shown the charts and diagrams to add, divide, and measure them, I heard the astronomer where he lectured with much applause in the lecture room. Accountable, I became tired and sick, till rising and gliding out, I wandered off by myself in the mystical moist air, and from time to time looked up in perfect silence.
I'm only 5 foot tall, so I'm like a baby. So I have two, one poem and then one is other poem. The first poem is called I say I'm okay because society says you must say I'm okay because I'm depressed and want to die. If you said I struggle with depression, they would say that's just too private. Like mental illness is a thing you should keep hidden. Suicide is somehow romanticized. When I say I'm depressed, I end up in the psych ward. So you see it on TV. You see, I say, I'll believe it. Maybe until I make it. If I cry myself to sleep, I'll feel better in the morning. Maybe I'll another song just to make it through the night. Maybe is my hope. I'm okay, I say, because it's a good. I'm and I'm okay. I'm okay, but it's okay. Let's go. And the psych ward says, and the psych ward says, Sarah's no need to worry. This asylum was meant to help you, and just like the straps that you rode on, we are going to keep you safe and secure. No locked doors and all the cameras perched in the corners like hawks. We will be watching. But this is all for you and your well-being. You are sick, anxious, depressed. To yourself, the state told us to hold you for 72 hours. If you sign this paper, we can pretend you'll stay here is voluntary. Friday morning, you will be woken up by strangers in white coats and clippers. You'll be asked again and again and again about why and how you want to kill yourself. Be honest. Remember, you're only here for 3 days. Take advantage of the 10 minutes you have with the doctors. Understand, he has a list of patients as long as his pay stubs, so you won't be receiving any actual therapy sessions while you're here, but we will recommend them as treatment after we let you out. Until then, we want you to be comfortable. So sit back, enjoy the plastic furniture and coloring books. We have old radios with no antennas, but the static is still loud enough to drown out the sound of the woman's baby. That sometimes, but now she does that, and we can find the right medication. We're going to keep holding her just like we want to keep helping you. If you only morning even tried the meds yet, you're still lying to us about holding your arm, just like your parents haven't told us everything. Just be honest and let us help you. Did I mention that the state only recognizes the existence of psychiatric patients Monday through Friday? The past stay here didn't even count. We still have time for a breakthrough or a breakthrough. This is a good thing. This means we still have time to help you, and I can see that you're getting upset. But do not ears through me and buried in palms. That type of body language is aggressive and might have to do something about that. Maybe die as a now. Maybe you should spend more time with the other patients. Get to know how they listen to them when they tell you got lucky. Play board. We are one of the good ones, and we want to help you to stay here. We figure if you keep you long enough, maybe you'll really start to fit in, or maybe if we keep you locked up, you eventually start to act out, and we waiting to bring to label you with a diagnosis. We didn't cause your social anxiety. We only heightened what was already there. We want to see you reach your full potential as a patient. We told you this asylum was built to help you.
Everybody. So I actually got, it was weird, and I walked off halfway through. So, and the closer, it's not supposed to end on how everybody sucks. So, so I thought I should probably finish it. You think I should start from the top? All right, well, I'm going to read it then, because I think I haven't memorized it enough where, all right. It's not just what I said, but what I did when I was lonely. I'll take another drink so I won't have to think of my offenses. And now it doesn't matter what I say. I've said far more than my share. And now I've lost my compass. Magnetism threw me for a spin. The sky is cloudy. I'm belligerent. I haven't been myself. These days I can't recall a recent time we faced the hangman's line, every one of us time, haunting loss of dream and tell me there's another way. Everyone must face the truth. Here is mine. Sing with me. I am not a good man. No one is a good man. Because we have been loosed from the chains that make us into ghostly shapes on walls inside these. Have you seen? I step into the rain. Molecules expand while I diminish. Please take and wrap them in a feel you. The fever's hit its pitch, so here's a joke. Tell me, what is all this for if nothing ever lasts? We both have a past and a future certain, because days like this don't ever seem to last. I'm waiting on the rain to show me I can change.
Tall. Is anything? That wasn't the poem. Could be, right? I don't write it not right, even though I'm not sure that I can, only that I do. The pressure always occurs sweetly to me, and I never know how when I'm in bed next to the person who will carry the memory of me beyond where I myself can carry myself. These words will hold us when we cannot, right? Mutter until written. They're not secret, just unspoken. A crime to be unidentified. Words fall to my brain like an eyelash into wide-eyed stare, never noticed until you can't ignore it's there. I don't know whether to write down the phrase that pulses through my head like oxygen, fast and quiet and heavy like a river after snow melt. Snow like this snow, like outside these blinds above our bed. Snow like blazing in the night, like the terror of loving you. Or snow like glowing in the night, like the eternal answer of loving you. Like after all, they both feel the same, both incredibly important and completely ruined. Or do I hope that this stays in my mind until dawn? And it's a full moon, so maybe you won't notice, even if I scramble to a half-sit, half-lay in bed. And maybe you won't be disturbed, even if my face is aglow in the half-light, half-shadow of my phone. This tiny rectangle of tangled technology draws my attention to a universe of words, a universe in which I am both master and slave, its highs bringing me to completion and lows sweeping me to desperation. A fever pitch of twitching thumbs, and then you rearrange your limbs, and I freeze. My inhale an offering to the gods of sleep, my exhale a silent prayer of gratitude as your body settles when my mind does not. Our minds will carry us when our bodies do not, right? The snow is coming down hard now, and I follow, my days high, disseminating into questions that I see written into each swirl that's painted into my ceiling. Each mark, a line of someone else's hand, a swooping gesture, curvature across the entirety of my vision. Strange that someone else has already written on my vision while I attempt to write this view, and my calming mind wishes for a straight line to follow across the ceiling to an answer. There's always an answer, right? These words will hold what we can never say. These moments hold another universe before it rips away, and I awake to my alarm, alerting me to the start of another day. Never able to keep that last instantaneous voice at the forefront of my brain, never dreaming what I told myself to dream. Never having actually written anything but a massive jumble of swirling nonsense, following their own useless gestures to an anticlimactic nowhere, following that slow and heavy Mississippi, right down to where the world began anew, right down to where I drew a straight line to you. I write this down so we can bring each other through. Dawn breaks blindingly across the snow through the blinds above our bed, your eyes on mine. Always a vision and a promise. My night notes don't always have to make sense, as long as you do. I catch my breath. We catch a glimpse of another universe, swirling in the question of one another. My words don't always have to make sense, as long as you do. right?
So I have a weird brain, and when you read, I see words, is right, W-R-I-T-E or R-I-G-H-T?
In that one, it's written two different ways.
Okay.
Oh, clever one.
Okay.
I recognize you now. Your hair's different. From like the verb thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, Mary's my sister. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. I'm letting myself go gray.
Nice.
Thank you.
And yet she's still going slower than me, so.
So brave. Something like that. Does somebody else have something they want to share? Yay! All right.
This one is called 380 Pounds of Pure Beauty. My body and I haven't always gotten along. My body has always tried to be beautiful. I have tried to look like every other person on Instagram. I did not get petite shoulders. My body gave me traps up to my ears so that when I put the squat bar on my shoulders, it doesn't hurt as bad. I didn't get a tiny waist. My body gave me a trunk so that I never got pushed over. My body gave me a big, loud voice so that I can speak up for the voiceless and no one can talk over me. When my body and the world disagreed on how I should look, I chose appetite suppressant lollipops, green tea laxatives, and chia seed water. When my body told me that I actually didn't like men, I just wanted to be them, I gave him a lot of men who didn't know the word no. I thought love was the moment that I lay crying in my bed after he told me I was so hot, so hot, baby. After vomiting on his dick, tears dried onto my face because the look in his eyes reminded me of a middle school age girl who knew nothing of the world and gave everything she had to a boy in high school, even though she didn't want to. I'm hottest when I'm suffering. Got it. I'll write it in blood and scars on my upper thigh so I remember it for next time. The world has been unkind to my body. I have been unkind to my body. I have starved, beaten, sliced, plucked, and belittled my body. It has persisted. I don't know why the world hates my body, hates women's bodies. I love the softness of women. That's probably because I'm a lesbian. But either way, it's gorgeous. There's nothing quite like the feeling of a woman's thigh pressed against your face, feeling the scars of growing and the scars of feeling. Different and so similar, and nothing feels better than knowing that she trusts you not to rip open old wounds again, and she knows you won't lap up the blood like a starving dog, desperate to absorb the weakness of others, so that maybe you won't feel so insecure about yourself. I never let myself forget that Aphrodite was 385 pounds of pure beauty. You can look that up on Google. And I now try to love my body endlessly and find the place it wants me to be, with a belly full of food and compassion to fill the eons. Thank you.
It's just us. Okay. So, like I said, it's like not even a minute. Anyways, it said, I'll love and live and hurry and be a mess, and I will so many things, not to spare my pain at your expense. Our pain isn't personal, but it is our responsibility to trust, to try, and be true to the process. And yeah, so there's that. Does anybody have another thing?
Yeah, good question.
Who's got more things?
Yeah, she has another thing. He has another thing.
So this is also short. It's also new. I wasn't actually planning to read this, but here we are because y'all are great at peer pressure. Thanks. This one is called Open Book Test. How do you cheat on an open book test? How do you break a heart that was yours even more than your own? You had the answers. They were all right there. I was your tutor, your study guide, and your cheat sheet. All you had to do was ask the questions, and yet you kept your answers hidden. I gave you the benefit of every doubt, and when the time came to prove yourself, even though you knew every answer, you cheated on an open book test.
I'm 4'11", so you have me beat. So this is a poetry book I purchased recently by Catherine Cohen. God, I feel modern tonight. It's just very fun. She's apparently a comedian in New York City, and these are poems she has Instagrammed. I saved some, but I want to pick the right ones. Okay, how about this? Poem I wrote after I realized no one talks about that time the Lululemon employee murdered her coworker in the store. I don't want to be your girlfriend. I just want to be a student of English literature. Wandering home late drunk in autumn, and anyways, I'm an awful roommate. I don't recycle, don't repeat that. The other day, I was dry swallowing my birth control pill as I city biked up the Williamsburg Bridge, and I was like, okay, I guess I am the voice of my generation. Let's see, there's some other good ones. Sorry, I should have had them pre-chosen. Okay, this is a little longer. Poem I wrote after I asked you if cereal can expire. There's a pandemic, and I think my arms are fat. I used to worry I had vaginismus, but it turns out I just wasn't attracted to my ex. I put the wrong kind of gas in the car and hate being alone. Everything I do is on my computer, which already feels like a word from the past. My children will type before they can walk. When I say children, I feel like a painting, like a Victorian woman sent to be by the sea with her ailments, which is not what's happening. Upstate, we have near constant sex and eat string cheese. I tell my therapist the rules of Love Island, and we unearth that I feel like an islander trapped in the villa, wondering how things will be different back on the outside. There is no world now, but I still feel like there must be some fabulous party going on somewhere. Everyone wearing shawls without me, smoking cigarettes with those long things. What are those? I miss feeling alive, by which I mean crying about my perfect life and boys who don't know how to dress themselves, who tell me they wish my bathroom was farther from my bed so they could look at my ass for longer when I walk away. I keep asking you if you think we are dead up here. The sky is brilliant and the playground is empty. Parts of your house are warmer than others, and we sleep in the cold spots, holding each other close.
I wrote this for the cancer clinic, my nurses that took care of me 2 years ago. I look at your smile, my heart beats a mile. I look again to see your smile, and my heart beats a mile. Now we have the virus around, so we all have to wear a mask. I can't see your smile. I know it's there because my heart beats a mile. So someday I'll get to see your smile. My heart beats a mile. I got a whole bunch. The other day I reached out and touched the rain as it came down slowly. To my surprise, a sunbeam touched my face. I looked up to see where it was coming from as the cloud disappeared behind the sun. Oh no, I did that backwards. Behind a cloud, okay. A colorful sky caught my eye. As I reached up to touch it, a sunbeam touched my face. This one's a special one I wrote for Sister Gabriel. Years ago I went to treatment, had a little problem. So anyway, I got upset they had me on the hot seat for a week or two. So I walked out. And Sister Gabriel was sitting outside. I know her from school. Anyway, she told me this story about this flower. And she had me sit down, and so this is what she told me. The flower that does not bloom. As she works on the flower, she waters it, feeds it, and pulls the weeds around it. Turns the soil over, and it still does not bloom. She covers it in the winter. The next spring, she starts all over again, year after year, and it still does not bloom. Spring turns to summer, summer to fall, and it still does not bloom. As the cycle of life moves on, I realize that I'm that flower that does not bloom. Thank you. I like this one here. It's one of my favorites. I'm the ship who sails this land. As I look over the sea of land, I see what I have become. I'm a little older, but not smarter. I look over the horizon to see if it's clear, for I'm the ship that sails this land. I see that my hands are tied behind my back. I will have to free them. It may hurt some, for I am the ship who sails this land. I gotta find that one. I do write all my own poems. Okay, this is about a friend and about me. I'm on the fence again. Do I let her in? I'm not sure where my heart is. Do I open up all the way? I'm standing naked, nothing to hide. I'm so vulnerable. Will my world fall on me again, or will my heart be filled with joy? Do you feel the fence tightening around you? Just take a deep breath. Have you let her in? You may be surprised. She may hold you or give you a hug and save you from yourself. So bare your soul and be happy that you have a friend like her. You guys want more? Where is that one? Friends, yes, this week I'm writing about friends. I'm glad I have some. Some are real good friends. I've had a lot of friends in my past. Some have passed on, others have moved away. Others have moved on with their lives. I have found some new friends, yes. I'm lucky that way. It helps when you're a good person and charming too. Told you. That helps too. So what life has become is that friends make us a better persons. So here to all our friends, raise your glasses. To all your new friends from your past and all your new friends, cheers. Like that one? Far, far from here. I could not say for sure. I thought you were lost to me. I'm losing hope of seeing you in my lifetime. I'll never get to say goodbye to you. That's life, far, far from here. This is about a friend that I lost. So, I have 5 fingers. I don't get her. I reach for the stars. I don't know how much longer I can take this. I got too close to the sun. It weighs heavy on my heart. I see the full moon smiling down on me. She's breaking my heart. The clouds are above me. I lost my love for her. I have 5 fingers. Where's that one? Oh, here it is. As I was driving around, I looked out my window. I seen a tumbleweed rolling across the prairie. I felt sad for it. I too feel like a tumbleweed. As I meet other tumbleweeds, I have noticed that our time together is very short. A gust of wind will come up and blow us apart as we roll across the prairie, never to see one another again. How sad. Never really get to know anyone for very long, for we are tumbleweeds rolling across the prairie. Thank you.
Does anybody else want to share anything before we close for the night? Yeah? All right, come on.
Mary, I'm pretty sure you've already heard this one, but alrighty. This one's called The Rumors We Believed In. The best thing about youth is that its foundation is made of rumors. Rumors that the fire alarms have ink in them. Rumors that the cameras on our computers spy on us. Rumors that we graduate high school to have a purpose. We grew up with the rumors of poverty, of depression, of divorce. Real life was the princesses that found their happily ever afters, where 2008 was a good financial year, where our parents loved each other, where corporations cared about their employees, where our moms weren't afraid of bread, where the people we met on Kick were really our friends, where oil was something that mattered 50 years ago, where the 9/11 sunset reflected off the very top floor of the World Trade Centers, high in the sky. Generation Z is defined by the fact that we do not remember 9/11, we do not remember the planes, we do not remember the towers, but we do remember taking off our shoes in the airports because 9-year-olds could have bombs. As we grew up, we began to believe in different rumors. We believed that plants and pills were safe, that a mango jewel pod at 8 a.m. was the best feeling that life could offer, that we would never be that guy dying under the bridge with scars deeper than track marks because it's only one time a month, a week, a day. We would never watch our friends' breathing go from ragged to still. There was a rumor of names passed along the breeze, filling the lungs of every girl till she wrote the names on every on every bead of sweat, on every can of pepper spray, on every cold piece of metal shoved between her fingers in the Walmart parking lot at 8:30 p.m. Don't let him touch your phone, your keys, your drink, your body. The rumor was that no one would believe you. They didn't believe those 40 other witnesses after all. Such a shame he ended up in your math class. You never truly forget the face of evil, especially when it hovered over your eyes for 5 minutes as it watched you die. We believed that our friends would stay our BFFs forever. And at the time of writing this, the line went, but now 2 of them are dead. It now has to be amended because now 3 of them are dead. Do you remember their names? Anna, Shelby, Liam. But now the others are lost in smoke, in orange pill bottles, in hunger, in life. Now we believe in different rumors, the ones about the old men, our 250-year-old overlords, that they will someday leave us a clean world, decide that people deserve to be well, decide that cops probably shouldn't grind their knees into the necks of innocent people, decide that 5 days of sick leave isn't good enough, decide that our teachers should afford their classroom supplies, and decide that kindergartners from Sandy Hook are more important alive. But for now, I watch Taco Bell bags roll across the parking lot like ominous tumbleweeds. I watch the ambulance drive off with a guy under the bridge. Its lights are off. I watch the whole world mourn thousands of Native American children, and I text my friends and know that they'll never see it.
So I went through all my poetry. like I said, I've never read live before other than on Zoom. This was the only one that I thought would sound good live, but then when I read it before I came down, I was like, but I thought, all right, I'll still read it. Because when I wrote it, I kind of tried to write it for like, an actual reading. And that's a funny thing is that, when you write poetry, it kind of is what it is. It's either there or it isn't. And so, but I'll still go ahead because, I'd practiced it to try to get it. Anyway, so as you know, I've been out of the country for a while. I've been working overseas for over a decade. I used to work over here at the Journal. I left there in 2010. So I feel a little disassociated at times over the past few years from my home. This is called When I Was American. 10 years lost to the desert and years to go before a return to familiar paths. I feel sands shift beneath weary feet and recount days spent in long absence. When I was American, I believed in the gospel of Bruce Springsteen, the redeeming spirit of radio and music that was played, not streamed. When I was American, I believed in the power of we and the weakness of they, the power of forgiveness and contrition binding the believers and agnostics alike. When I was American, I believed in proper use of turn signals, leaving tips of 20% or greater, and the joy of the Sunday morning paper. When I was American, I believed that people created technology and not the other way around. When I was American, I believed in the boundless love of family, those to whom we are born and those to whom we adopt along the way. When I was American, I believed in a country bound less by borders than by ideas, the power of the individual with inalienable rights, not bound by creed. When I was American, I believed in doctors and police and teachers and soldiers and businessmen and the red, the white, and the blue. And when I was American, I believed in wisdom over intelligence, opportunity over opulence, and truth over opinion and alternative facts. When I was American, I believed.
You want to do a couple more? All right, we'll let you close us out here with a couple more, okay? All right. What was your name?
Terry Lee. Me and my shadows. I take my shadows out for a walk at night. Sometimes there are 3 or 4 of me walking. I'm never by myself. They're always with me. They may be behind me, on my side, or in front of me leading the way. I can always count on my shadows to be there for me. This one I just finished writing here a couple weeks ago. I'm a universal child traveling through time, seeing what there is to see. I look into the abyss and see all the wonders of the universe. Seeing your smile warms my heart. My spirit races across the abyss like a shooting star. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. That's what happens everywhere I go. I don't. I'm like Dexter. I'm really a songwriter, musician, and so this is awkward because I don't have a guitar or melody to hide behind. No, I think I'm okay. But yeah, I'm kind of a romantic, so I may not exist in reality. We'll see. Just play the guitar. This is called Orion's Dream. Stepped outside without my shoes to watch smoke roll on winter's air. I'm not sure of the words I said, but you laughed, so I didn't care. I wondered how Orion felt as he watched our past unfold. I'm not sure where I'm going now. All I know is I've begun. Well, I was lost and found, and yet I wondered once again, But please don't wake me while I'm dreaming, lest castles crumble in my hand. Back inside and sitting close, watching screen light fall on your eyes. Who am I to judge such a scene? I'm enchanted by your hum. I'm not sure if you're heaven sent or just with me on this walk below. All I know is I'm down for the ride, and all roads will lead us home.
Josh, also so tall. This is a poem by my friend Nick, and this week marks 4 years since he passed. So I'd like to share some of his words, which were written as a song, so I feel a little bit like Dexter and Josh up here. We're going down, down with the sun in our shoulder blades, and we're taking our chances that these clouds aren't gonna rain. And you're holding my hand like you're begging for mercy, like these clouds won't come back tomorrow. Just then, a new shade of dark blue comes to mind, to a thought like a song, and your head is entwined in the sky. And your breath is the bandage that heals all the holes in the air in my lungs. You exhale. Now we're burning out, and the ashes won't go away. If there's one thing you always said, it's that there's no escape. This means we're fulfilled and we're dying so slow. We'll sink in the earth and be buried and wait for the snow. And we'll wait like we're begging for mercy.
All right, I'm going to close this out on that note. Whenever you share anything about Nick, I think about the last time that I saw Nick at the St. Joe pub, which doesn't exist anymore, playing a gig. And I think a lot about what that space meant for young people in this community and spaces for music. And so if tonight is your first time in the Cave Collective, if it's your first time tuning into a live stream, if you're not familiar with who we are and what we're building here in this space, I just encourage you to talk to somebody, ask those of us who are involved about what we're building, why we're building it, because there are so many stories within these walls that are people that have gone before us. We're building this space that we needed when we were kids, and we hope that you'll be part of it. So thank you tonight, Dexter, for running sound, to the poets and the writers and the people who shared words, and I hope you'll join us again. I will probably never host again, which will be awesome, and I believe we meet every month, right? Yes, more or less, and Jesse and David normally host, and they weren't here tonight, so please come back. Please come to open mic night. You can share poetry Wednesday nights from 7 to 10. We also have live music then. Lots of music events and book clubs and writers clubs and all sorts of things, and great coffee and caffeination, woo, which I have clearly. And I hope you'll have a good night, and thank you so much, and goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.